Good morning. It is, what's today? Wednesday. It's about 10:30, I think. Honestly, I haven't checked the time in a while. It might be almost 11 at this point. You know, you lose track of time and days in postpartum when you have a newborn and a toddler. I wanted to make this video. I've been wanting to make this video for 6.5 weeks now, basically since I had Weston. But, you know, things kept happening. I kept having excuses as to why I couldn't make the video. Like, I didn't have any alone time, or I didn't have makeup on, or I was too tired, or there were other things that I needed to get done around the house. Like, there's so much going on during postpartum. Making a YouTube video was kind of last on the list. But I'm sitting here feeding Weston. Isaiah and Scott are out of the house, and I actually got some makeup on this morning. So I figured, you know what? This is the perfect time. It's not gonna get any better than this. So I just wanted to share a little bit about my postpartum journey. This is my second child. So I've now been through 2 postpartums. And honestly, postpartum is a lot longer than just like the first several weeks after you have a baby. It's really the rest of your life after you have a baby. You're always in postpartum once you have a baby, right? But I would say like postpartum really does last over a year. Like, your hormones are constantly changing depending on if you're breastfeeding, when you decide to stop breastfeeding, when you get your period back. A lot of people expect most of the hard time of postpartum, like postpartum depression or anxiety, to happen shortly after you give birth, but really a lot of people experience those things much later on in their postpartum journey, like around a year or even later than that, or anywhere in between. If you feel like you start experiencing anything weird, like depressed feelings or anxiety or rage or anything like that around the year mark or even beyond, don't be afraid to reach out for help, and just keep in mind that it could still be due to changes in your hormones and your body because of postpartum. The other thing I kind of wanted to mention was just preparing for postpartum. A lot of people don't get advice to prepare for postpartum when they're getting ready to have a baby. You know, everyone's super excited and they want to celebrate with you. They want to buy you gifts for the baby. Maybe they'll get you some things like, things for yourself for postpartum, like breastfeeding supplies. But I would say the best way to prepare for postpartum, in my experience, has been prepping meals or having like a food delivery system set up, whether that's your friends and family members bringing food to your house different days of the week, which, by the way, you can use. There are several websites that you can use. I'll try to link them in the description box because I can't think of the names right now, but I think one is called mealtrain.com, where you can put that on like your registry, or have whoever's planning your registry reach out to friends and family to sign up for the meal train, where they sign up for a different day to deliver you food. Or just have like a DoorDash delivery come to your house on a certain day. Food, though, is like a huge relief when you first have a baby, especially in the first couple weeks. Where was I? So food and like setting up any kind of food delivery system is going to be so helpful. And if you can prepare some freezer meals yourself, maybe you switch sides before you give birth. That's what we did this time around, and it was super helpful. We made like a lasagna. I made like a chicken Alfredo casserole. A lot of casserole dishes are like the perfect thing because they make a large quantity. You can easily freeze them and then reheat them. Soups are also great options. And even just like prepping meal prep bags where you throw all the ingredients into a bag, like chopped and ready to go, and then freeze that. And then you can just throw that on a sheet pan and bake it, or throw it in the crock pot in the morning. Those types of recipes work really well too. So number one suggestion, in my opinion, is having food either delivered or prepared ahead of time. Because like I said, having a newborn, it takes up so much time. It's like crazy. You're going to be holding a baby basically 24/7 for the first like several weeks. So you're not going to be able to make food. You're not going to be able to do a lot of stuff. And I guess that's another point that most people don't realize is, especially for me, someone who's very independent, it's hard for me to sit still and like just relax in general. And so that was the hardest part of having a baby the first time around for me, was like just that total identity shift and like not being able to spend any time for me. Like, you are 100% focused on taking care of another person, which is beautiful, and it changes you in a really great way. But it's also just a huge change that took me a long time to get used to. Like, probably over a year, maybe a year and a half, for me to actually like being a mom and enjoy it, because I had finally accepted what that looked like for me, if that makes sense. Another thing is breastfeeding is not easy. At least not for everyone. It definitely wasn't for me. What was I talking about? Breastfeeding. So breastfeeding is not easy. It comes easy for some people, but I feel like for the majority of women and or babies, it is definitely a skill that is to be learned, and it has a big learning curve. This I was also not prepared for. I took a breastfeeding class before I had Isaiah with my first pregnancy, which kind of helped prepare me, but I feel like nothing really prepares you for having a baby. Like, you can do all the prep work, all the research, but you're really not going to know what works for you and your baby until you're in it. And so it's just a matter of trial and error, persistence, grace, and as much help as you can get. But for breastfeeding, the things I think people should know is, one, it is not easy. It is very, very hard. It hurts sometimes. It's not supposed to hurt, but it definitely hurt in the beginning as we were learning how to latch and everything. It is a pretty much 24/7 job. Like, I've been nursing this guy for probably 40 minutes now, and he's still eating. So that's another example of how you're just like at this little creature's demand. I don't know when it gets better than this, because I didn't really breastfeed Isaiah, but everyone keeps telling me around the 3-month mark. But that's just the other thing, is like, mentally prepare yourself to always be sitting, always be breastfeeding or holding your baby. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But if it's really important to you, it is possible to be successful in breastfeeding, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of determination. Be proactive in scheduling appointments with lactation advisors and consultants when you're in the hospital after you give birth. Like, follow up, consistently ask, make sure they give you a lactation consultant. Keep asking questions. Do not leave the hospital if you can until you feel confident that your baby is like latching and you know what to do. And even then, go ahead and schedule to come back and see the lactation consultants if your hospital has them. If they don't, then you can do this ahead of time with an outside lactation consultant party or whatever. I simply Googled lactation consultants after I had Weston, and I found a website that did virtual consultations, which I never actually used it because my hospital had them already and I had made appointments with them and I had like transportation to get there. But if getting to your doctor's office or wherever the lactation consultants are to do in person appointments is too difficult for you or not possible, then just know that more than likely you will have access to virtual consultations as well. Just do your research in that and prepare ahead of time. Even when you think you have it down, breastfeeding down, I promise you something's going to come up and you're going to be like, what the F is this about? And you're going to want to ask somebody for help. With Isaiah as my first, the hardest thing was the identity shift. My life is no longer just me. It's really Isaiah first and then me. Even though I preach self-care is number one, that's true. But to a certain extent, when you have a newborn, you really don't have a choice but to put them first for most of the first year. Once they start getting mobile, it gets a lot easier, in my opinion. When Isaiah started walking, that's when things got really fun and easier for me. It was also the same time where I could because you can take them out, you can take them to the park, you can get out of the house with them. It's just a different vibe than having a newborn. But when you have a newborn, it's like you really might not have time to shower or brush your teeth on certain days. And that's just how it is. But the good news is it's temporary. That was really hard for me to accept, though, when I first became a mom. And I feel like it really took away my enjoyment and my time with Isaiah, because I was constantly looking for and wanting to go back to the way my life was. I wanted to be doing the same schedule. I wanted to be able to have the same amount of freedom. And I kept thinking oh, maybe when I stop pumping, it'll be like that. No. Maybe when he hits 6 months and he's sleeping through the night, it'll be like that. No. Maybe when he's walking and he has more independence, it'll be like that. No, it's never going to be the way it was before, at least not until they are much older, probably. And even then it's going to be different because you still have kids and they have their own schedules and whatnot. And accepting that was really, really hard for me the first time. This time around, it's a lot easier for me because, again, I've actually learned to enjoy being a mom. I love being a mom now. But with a newborn, again, the time required and the care required and the sacrifice required is still very, very hard. Even if you love being a mom, I feel like. I still am trying to make time for myself as much as possible every single day, even if that means just spending 10 minutes getting ready, doing my makeup. I haven't done my hair. I haven't gotten dressed. I did eat breakfast because Scott made me breakfast, but it won't be uncommon for you to only be able to spend 10 minutes on yourself in a day. So, and people tell you that, when you're pregnant and you're getting ready to have a baby, but I don't think it really sinks in until you're in it. So again, this video might seem helpful, but I feel like you really won't understand anything I'm saying until you actually have your baby. So even with this time around with Weston, I still feel like I'm kind of searching and trying to create a sense of normalcy, a routine, which is fine. It's okay to try to create routines. Babies and toddlers and children thrive on routine, but it has to be a flexible routine, and you have to expect that every day is going to be a little bit different. And the most important thing is just to be as present as you can, I guess, and just know that nothing stays the same. Literally, the minute you think you have your newborn scheduled down, they're going to do something to switch it up. It was like that up until probably Isaiah was 2. He just turned 2 in a month ago. So it was constantly changing. And the minute you feel like you have a routine, something's going to change and you're going to have to adapt. So learning how to adapt is probably one of the top things I could say will help you in your postpartum journey, and also learning to ask for help. Even to do minuscule or embarrassing things like cleaning your house or bringing you food, even if it makes you super nervous to let someone else hold your baby. Like me, I have been very, very protective and probably freakishly concerned. Maybe not. That's probably normal for moms actually to be concerned about their baby that way, but Like, I didn't drive Isaiah in my car until he was like 6 months old because I was so nervous to leave the house alone with him. But if you are able to get over things like that, if you're able to let someone hold your baby or watch them for 30 minutes to an hour or feed them a bottle so you can spend some time napping or cleaning or doing whatever it is you feel like doing, yes, definitely take advantage of it. I still am working on this part. Like, I still struggle to let other people help, especially when it comes to taking care of my kids. But when I do let it happen, it's amazing. And everything has always turned out fine. My kids have always ended up being safe and healthy and happy. So we're all, still here today. So just trust, I guess, that things will probably be fine if you do decide to put them in the care of someone else. I feel like I'm really just rambling in this video, so if it comes off that way, I am truly sorry, but this is real, raw, postpartum life. Like, I probably would never make this video if I wanted it to be any better than it is right now, if that makes sense. The other thing I want to mention is, I guess, not only to have grace with yourself, but also with your partner, because it's a big change for your husband or your life partner, whoever that is, as well. It's not just a big change for you. It's a big change for them. A lot of times, especially for men, I feel like they struggle to know how to help you. They want to help, but they don't know how they can help you. So maybe just letting them know ahead of time, or encouraging them to like take some classes with you before you have the baby on how they can help. That would be really helpful, just so they can know like little things are gonna make a big difference for you guys. Like when you're breastfeeding, they can always refill your water. They can always make sure you have a snack. They can always be there as soon as the baby's done feeding to hold them so you can rest or shower or do something else. They can help you in the middle of the night the same way so that you can get some extra sleep by holding the baby to sleep or putting them to sleep after you've fed them. Or if you're doing bottle or formula, switch off every other feed so that you're getting a stretch of sleep and then they get a stretch of sleep. They can pick up the cleaning and the chores around the house to make sure that you feel good and peaceful in a clean home. They can start doing the meals if they have the time. I mean, there's plenty of things around the house that need to be done, right? And they probably, if you're like me and my partner, and probably most people, you've probably been the one to like do most of those domestic things. So you can make a list of things that they can just check off every day. Do this ahead of time, obviously, if you can, before you have your baby. And also just like whenever you guys are having a conversation about anything, always have the mindset that like assuming that your partner is sleep deprived and just as tired as you are, because they probably are. And also like make sure they have that same mindset when they're talking to you, because when you're sleep deprived, it is literally a form of torture. And like sometimes when I'm talking to Scott, I literally can't get a full sentence out of my mouth. Like random words will just come out of my mouth. It's the craziest thing, and it's because I can't think. I can't put a full sentence together, let alone communicate like what it is I need or what I'm feeling or what's gonna make me feel better. And that was something that was really frustrating with Scott, and it still is to this day sometimes, is he constantly wants to help, but he constantly asks me, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And that is probably one of the least helpful things that you can do for a woman in postpartum, because I can't fucking think of something for you to do. Like, I just need you to do something and not ask me, because I'm not going to be able to communicate it to you effectively, and I might even snap at you or get pissed off or something like that, and then you're in a fight all of a sudden. So maybe have that conversation with your partner before you have the baby and let them know that that's like a real thing that will happen. And last but not least, I would say, obviously, you've probably heard this, but it's all temporary. I've already said this in this video. It is all temporary. And that's really like the light at the end of the tunnel, is knowing that whatever moment you're in, whether you're going through teething or sleep regression or postpartum depression or, you know, you're super scared to leave the house, whatever it is temporary and it will get better. It's all temporary. And these babies change so quickly. They will keep you on your toes. So just be ready for that. But just know that it won't be like this forever. So hopefully that's encouraging to you if you're like in the thick of this right now, like I am. Because I don't really know what else to tell you to encourage you other than that. And you will make it through. Everyone's going to survive. You're going to be fine. You're a great mom, no matter what you might be feeling that day or in this moment. Your babies know that you love them and that you're doing your best, and it's hard, but it's amazing, and it gets better. It gets better. So I hope this video was helpful for you in some way or another. If you have any questions about postpartum, please feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, make sure you do that. It really supports my channel when you like these videos and subscribe to my channel. I really want to continue sharing as much motherhood motivation as I possibly can, especially during this really vulnerable and difficult time. So if you liked this video, please let me know so I know to make more like it. And if you're not following me on Instagram, go ahead and check me out there so you can get daily health, fitness, and mom motivation tips. Thank you so much for watching. Mama, you are doing so good, and let's make it a great day. I'll see you in my next video.